Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our iOS development with UIKit series by taking a look at how we can use a UITextField conforming class to filter the text entered into a text field as the user types. Now, this will use our protocols and delegates communication pattern. If you're not familiar with it, go to the video at the very beginning of the series where we talked about this. But this delegate, UITextFieldDelegate, has optional methods inside of it. None of these are required to be implemented, but if you're going to conform to this protocol, you may as well implement some kind of method. Otherwise, there's no point in conforming to it. So, the method that we're going to be using from this delegate protocol is, well, the name off the top of my head is, I believe it should change character. I could be slightly off, but with this method, you will be able to filter out any unnecessary or unwanted characters. All right. So, first things first, I want you to assign self to the delegate property of your text field. So in this case, I'm going to say value. I'm going to say value field dot delegate equals self, like that. However, we're going to get an error in Xcode, and that's because the class we're in, ViewController, does not conform to UITextFieldDelegate. So let's change that. Up at the very top of our file, we're going to add a conformance to UITextFieldDelegate. All right, and so that is our conformance done. Now that our view controller knows that it has to be a UITextFieldDelegate, and that our text field knows that the view controller is its delegate, let's go ahead and implement our method that we need to implement from the delegate. So we're going to go all the way down here at the bottom of our view controller. All right. So here we're going to use, let's see here. We don't want should clear. We don't want should return. We do not want did end editing. We don't want that one either. We don't want that one. Not that one. No. There we go. Should change characters in. All right. Now this will take in a text field of type UITextField. So this text field is the text field that is calling the text field calling the method. Right? And then we are taking in an NS range, and then we're taking in a replacement string. Right? So this replacement string is what we're going to test against, because this string is the characters or the input that the user is putting into our field. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to first get rid of this placeholder, and then we're going to first declare a variable this is going to be a Boolean, so var is valid input. We're going to set it equal to true for now. And you'll see why here in a second. Next, we'll have a constant called allowed characters, which will pretty much be a string of all the different characters that are allowed in this field. So we'll say let allowed characters equals 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because what we're going to do here, right, is we're going to make sure that only digits 0 through 9 are allowed in the field. Now, if you also wanted to make sure that the text doesn't exceed a certain length, or if you want decimal places and you might want to confirm that it only contains 1 or something like that, you can do that in this method as well. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and we're going to loop through our string. So string dot for each, and we'll say character in. All right, so inside of our for each, we are going to say if well, actually, we don't even need to. We could do something like if character dot contains, or rather not character, we can say if string, or rather, God, I am not with it today. If allowed characters dot contains character, all right. It looks like I screwed something up. All right. Okay, we're gonna go back here. We're gonna backtrack. Okay. Okay. All right, let's try that again. So we could do something like if allowed characters dot contains character, we will say is valid input equals true, and we'll return like that. Now we could do that, right? And that would work fine. There are and that's kind of where we're gonna keep it. But there are other ways of doing it that might be a little bit more efficient, but I want you guys to kind of have a general idea of how exactly this is working. All right. And we also need to make sure that there's an exclamation point at the beginning of this statement. So if the allowed characters does not contain the current character, we want to set it. We want to set is valid input to false, and then we want to get out of this for each. Right? We want to get out of the closure because we don't need to do anything further. Right? Wait, not true. We want false. There we go. And then we will return is valid input. And my apologies for the buzzing. That was my phone going off. But so now what we're doing is let's go through this line by line. Okay. So first thing is that we have an is valid input Boolean set to true initially. This Boolean is the flag that we're going to determine whether or not the given input string should be accepted or not. Then we're specifying the allowed characters that we want. In this case, it's just 0 through 9. You could theoretically use a regular expression, but we're not going to use that today. All right, now we're looping through our input string. And then for each character in the input string, because this can be more than one character inside of the string. So that's why we're looping through it. For each character, we are determining if the allowed characters does not contain the character currently being iterated over. So if it doesn't contain that specific character, then we know it's not a valid input. So we set is valid input to false, and we get out of our closure. So we're not looping through anything else to conserve CPU cycles and stuff like that to make it a little bit more efficient. All right. And then finally, we return our is valid input because this method should change characters in. Returns a Boolean that says, hey, should the text that was just typed in or copied and pasted or whatever, should this be accepted into the field? Right. So if it contains any characters that aren't allowed, it will say nope, don't even bother. Right. If it's anything from 0 to 9, then yes, accept it. Okay. So there we go. Let's go ahead and run our code now. All right, let it do its thing. It's running now. Okay, let's enter a value. So let's try to enter ASDF. You can see that nothing happened. ASDF. Nothing happened. But let's try 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that worked. Let's go ahead and get rid of all of these characters here. Let's try to enter a period. Nope. A period doesn't work either. What about a comma? Nope, that doesn't work either. What about any other symbol on the number row. None of that works either. Just numbers works for this field. Now, there are ways to format the content of a text field using a number formatter and all that kind of stuff. You can attach a formatter to it. But the caveat to that is that it only formats the text in the field when you are done editing. When the text is when you hit the return key and the keyboard's dismissed and the text field is no longer the first responder. And that's not always what you want. So I wanted to show you exactly how we can use the text field delegate to filter out unnecessary characters or unwanted characters in that UI text field as we type. So that pretty much does it for this video, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.